I am super tired. The only time that I get to do these videos is after my kids go to sleep, and that just seems to be getting later and later. But I'm happy to do them. Fun little experiments in sound and music. Channel's getting up there, close to 2,000 subscribers. What? Almost monetized. You know, if you like this stuff, you can hit the like and the subscribe and start watching this video and then just go to sleep, and then all my other videos will play, and I'll get more watch hours, and maybe I'll get beer money. What we're looking at tonight is the Dirty Dog Overdrive and Reverb. It's a Joe Ciccarelli signature plugin. I don't know who Joe Ciccarelli is. I've heard the name before. I probably in YouTube plugin land, I think that I've heard the name. I think also, you know, he may be on YouTube doing stuff. I've had a little bit of time to play with this thing, and it's a strange one. Hey y'all, Sam from the future here. Sorry, I just had to jump in here because I think I forgot to say it, but Safari Pedals sent me this plugin for free for this review. However, they get no input onto what I say in this video, and they're not going to see this before it goes live. There is an affiliate link in the description for this plugin and all Safari Pedal plugins. So if you like this or any of their other things, if you use that link, a small portion of your purchase will get kicked back to this channel. Anyway, let's go back to me talking about the Dirty Dog in the past, and then you'll see me again talking about what I did with the drums. We could just go over the controls really quick. Pre-drive, this is the drive going into the plugin before it hits the rest of this thing, the rest of the chain here, which is time, which is the reverb. You can see it's all the way down at 140 milliseconds. It goes all the way up to 4,000 milliseconds. Pretty long. You got filters here. This is high pass, this is low pass. Pre-delay is the time before the reverb kicks in. So gate is the most interesting thing about this plugin to me. From what I can tell, basically it is opening a gate on input that triggers the pre and the post drive signals. And you can do both. Right now I have it set up to post, and then your post drive here is basically the distortion or the drive coming out of the plugin. I like Safari Pedals because basically you can understand the signal chain really well of like it goes in, hits the pre-drive, and then it goes across these parameters. So post-drive is basically like the overdrive that's hitting the signal on the way out of the plugin. I was messing around with some presets and I found one that I really liked. Anyway, I got my tele going into this MXR Poly Blue Octave, and I'm just using the sub octave 1 clean signal, everything bypassed, including the plugin. And then here's the Walrus, and then here's the octave. So the preset that I'm using is called ACC Guitar Overdrive Subtle, but I've tweaked it a little bit. I did some things to it, but you can hear it. We should turn it on. So you can hear it's adding more distortion to the signal. So here's with it off again. And here's it on. We'll go back to the original preset here. And let's just mess with some of these parameters. You can kind of hear what's going on. First of all, I'm going to just turn everything off. So this is just the pretty much plugins doing nothing. And we'll turn this pre-drive on. Oh, I should say the blend is down at 20% here. And the blend is, you can get cool sounds out of this thing at like 2%. You don't need a lot. You got kind of a room sound all the way down here. And then it just gets longer into more of a kind of a digital delay tail. This room sound. I like the room sound. The room sound sounds good. And you can mess with these filters independently of other parameters. And pre-delay. Oh, interesting. That sounds a little glitchy. It sounds glitchy if you're just moving it around in there. Yeah, if you engage the reverb, that's pretty much gone. But if you take that off, yeah. Anyway, that seems like that might be a little bit of a bug. Here's where I really enjoy this thing is the gate. So without any of the other parameters engaged, you're not gonna really use the gate, or the gate's not really gonna trigger, but it does trigger when you engage either the pre-drive or the post-drive. So as you go down to 0%, the gate isn't really triggering at all. It's just letting the signal go straight into the post drive without gating the signal into it at all before it goes in. So it's just full on drive. But as you bring this gate up, you can hear there's some noise going away. But where it gets really cool is when you introduce the reverb. So let's back off on this blend. You can really hear that gate when you engage the filters. So you can kind of see how I ended up getting to the preset that I came up with, which is OSPOD. So I used a little bit of pre-delay, times all the way down, messed with the filters a little bit, didn't use any of the pre-drive, but I'm really excited about putting some drums to this thing and then using the Dirty Dog on the drums too. I cannot do that right now because my kids are asleep. So that'll be for another part of this video. I recorded some drums and here's what the drums sound like without any Dirty Dog on them. So this is the raw drums without any Dirty Dog on them at all. And here's what it sounds like with the Dirty Dog on them. Pretty significant difference there. I've got the post drive all the way up. I've got the pre-drive up to 12%. Filter is hitting at 600 hertz. The low pass is all the way up. And then no pre-delay. This gate is at 20%, so the gate is opening at a 20% threshold basically. And then time is the smallest that you can get. You know, it's funny, if you turn off this time, it completely changes the sound. It starts sounding really phasey, so you almost need it, and it creates a cool stereo effect. The gates on both the pre-drive and the post-drive. If you turn off this pre-drive, you know, that 12% is doing a lot. I really like the way that the pre and post-drive kind of are working together in sequence here. I should say I'm also got this thing only at a 13% blend, and I'm using it as a send at 4.9 dB. So I'm not hitting it super hard, but what it's doing is significant. Now let's hear it with the guitars. So these guitars both have Dirty Dog on them. So let's take Dirty Dog off of. You can hear the drums, like a lot of the just overall volume is that Dirty Dog sound. Really what the Dirty Dog's doing on these guitars, that gated distortion is just such a cool sound. It's just like it's very unique. And you know, honestly, you could set up a chain of plugins to probably replicate this, but it's a pretty novel idea. Like, I wouldn't think to gate a distortion, a pre-drive and a post-drive, you know, dial in a very specific sort of sequence for how all those things hit. The broken snare sounds pretty cool. Also, can we talk for a little bit about the artwork on these things? I love the way that these things look. I think what happens in the plugin world is that, you know, you're emulating an old piece of gear and you want it to look just like that. But these are unique plugins that kind of don't really have a peer in terms of, you know, what else is out there on the market. These are really like guitar pedal interfaces, and I appreciate that as a really bad guitar player. The artwork is just really cool. Gnome, if you're listening, I want posters. I want posters of the artwork. I know you talked in one of your blogs about the guy that you work with that does the art, and he's super talented. I love everything that's coming out of here. I just noticed that there are 3 heads on the dog here. That's a really nice detail. And if this ever comes out in a guitar pedal format, like a physical guitar pedal, I want one. So cool.